So we would like to compute the volume bounded by the graphs of these two cylinders, meaning thereby that here we have the cylinder x square plus y square equals 1, and this one is y square plus z square equals 1, right? And the interior of this, we would like to see the volume of that. So it'll be much easier if we look at the upper half, all right? So now we are taking the upper half of the cylinder in the z greater than or equal to 0 region. So by symmetry, we can see that the volume in the upper half would be the same as the volume in the lower half, all right? Or actually, to make it easier, we can just look at the portion in the first quadrant, compute that volume, and then multiply it by 8. So that will give us the entire volume. So let's do it that way. So here we got the quarter of the or the picture in the first quadrant, right? So as you can see, all right, that we have, yeah, here we have, x going from 0 to 1, y from 0 to 1, and this portion here is the portion uh, y square plus z square equals 1, and this is x square plus y square equals 1. So let's change the color of this. So here we go, and now we are ready to take it for calculations, okay? So here we are. We have, what do we have? We got y square plus z square equals 1 here. So what z will be? Z will be actually positive square root of 1 minus y square in the in the in the first octant. And then here in this case we can see that x varies from 0 to 1, y varies from 0 to 1, but we have this arc here. Okay, so we just have to pick an order, and we can pick any order we please, but I think it will be nicer or easier. We will see. If not, then we will do something else. To, let's say, x go from 0 to, let me do it in a different way. X go from 0 to this portion first, and then we will let y go from 0 to 1. Okay, so in that case, what we got here is that for this one, or this curve that we have here, we have x square plus y square equals 1. So in the first quadrant here, it will become a square root of 1 minus y square. So what we are going to do is, so this will give us our altitude here. Okay, so when we just make our element, okay, sorry about the bad drawing. Okay, then this is z, and then on the bottom we got dx dy. That's how we chose to do this, and z is how much in there? Square root of 1 minus y squared. Don't worry, soon you will not have to bear with my handwriting. X goes from where to where? 0 to square root of 1 minus y squared, and y will go from 0 to 1. So all that we have to do now, calculate this integral and multiply it by 8. All right, we are going to find this volume, and how we would do that is that we shall take the integral, right, from 0 to 1. Okay, and then we are doing it in an order that first we'll integrate with respect to x, and the limit there are 0 to square root of 1 minus y squared, and then we are integrating 1 minus y squared, and then what we got, dx dy. So when we do this, integrate this with respect to x, we'll treat a square root of 1 minus y squared as a constant, right? Okay, so what the antiderivative would be there? That would be simply, that is the constant, so there'll be simply the constant multiplied by x, and actually this quantity has to be evaluated from where to where? From 0 to square root of 1 minus y square. Okay, so that's the upper limit, and what is the lower limit? The lower limit is 0, and we shall range it over x. So what we got is, when we get the two limits, so for the top we simply get this same value again, and for the bottom we get a 0, but since x equals 0, we'll make the whole product 0. What will happen is this, that this whole thing will come down to this, right? Which is simply how much? We simply have this equals this value, okay? And when we multiply two of these together, the square root will go away, all right? So we have simply 1 minus y square here, okay? And let's get rid of this thing here. So what we have is that we will have as the final answer y minus y cubed over 3, okay, and then we got the upper limit as 1, the lower as 0, so it's simply how much? 1 minus 1 over 3, okay, that is 2 over 3. So the entire volume would be what? Remember, this is simply in the first octant, so the entire volume is going to be 8 times this quantity, all right, or 16 over 3 units. Now, if you have for the radius r instead of 1, everything will follow along, excuse me, similarly, all right. Let me just write units, whatever the units are, okay.